Hello there, one and all, and welcome to episode 378 of Love at First Scent with me, Persolaise, coming to you live on YouTube as always. And there are already lots and lots of comments, so I've had to scroll up to the top to find out that the first comment today went to Rich. Go to Rich, I should say, who says hello. Milad is here as well, saying hi from Muscat and wanting to let us know that he's wearing Fico di Amalfi. Ah, interesting. Holly says hello from the coast of Maine. Umberto says hello as well. Gavin says yoo-hoo. Keith is here as well. So is Luke, who's saying, is it already summer? Not quite, but it is time for our summer video. Hello from Denmark, says Maudlin. You're all very, very, very welcome. Thank you very much for tuning in, whether you're watching live or you're watching the recording. If you haven't already subscribed to this channel, please do consider doing so and make sure you click on the little bell so that you get notifications of new videos. And if you would like to find out how you can support my work, all support is very, very, very gratefully received and very much appreciated. Then you should be able to see a link to my Ko-fi page in the video description below. Okay, we need to get a move on, because we're doing another top 10. It's one of our seasonal top 10s. I can't quite believe it's this time already, but the longest day of the year is just around a corner, which means the start of summer is just around a corner. And so we need to do our summer 2023 list. It's 1 a.m. in Korea, says Jeff, and I'm awake just for this list. Gosh, that's really, really sweet of you. I hope it's going to be worth it. Okay, so let's start the list. We've got a top 10. Plus 2. I'll see if I have time for kind of sidetracks, but these aren't ones that that I desperately wanted to include. They're ones which are very genuinely sort of sidetracks. Okay, regular viewers will know that there's always a little bit of a loose theme to these seasonal lists, just something to help me conceptualize and decide why I would go for one scent rather than another one. And I was having a conversation with a friend just recently, and we were bemoaning the fact that this is probably something to do with us feeling that we are no longer the youngest generation that consumes music, shall we say, and we sort of felt that there didn't seem to be as much sincerity in popular music and maybe in some other art forms or sort of commercial art forms, that there didn't seem to be as much sincerity as there used to be when the music was the sort of music that we enjoyed more. And I thought sincerity is a kind of interesting concept in art. So I thought, and then it sort of related to a few other family things that are happening. And I thought, okay, I've got my concept for summer 2023, the sense of sincerity. But what does that mean? And again, the theme is very, very loose. They are all perfumes here, all 10 of them, that to some degree, some to a lesser degree than others, but scents that are somehow that somehow come with a sense of integrity, with a sense of honesty. Maybe there's an artlessness to them. Maybe they're scents that don't ever flatter to deceive, scents that maybe veer towards the simple, but that nothing wrong with that. That there's nothing wrong with simplicity at all. They're not simplistic, even though they may be simple. I want 10 insincere scents, says Gavin. Oh, that would be a good one as well. 10 deceptive scents, or 10 scents that beguile and deceive and create an illusion. No Roger Dove perfumes then, says Rich Mitch. Actually, no, there are no Roger Dove perfumes here. So this is a very, very, very subjective concept, okay, and it's a very, very loose concept. But as I'm looking at the 10 here, I'm thinking, yes, there seems to be a very, very direct and very, very clear communication between me as the wearer or the person smelling it and the creator. To varying degrees, okay? There are some that perhaps come across as a little bit more, should we say, complex, baroque? I don't know. You'll get what I mean. I've noticed that more and more people are wearing thick fragrances, says Farid, in hot weather, oud, leather, and incense. Absolutely nothing wrong with that. Oh, and of course, the other thing as well is that these are all scents that I can imagine myself wearing this summer. Okay, so that's the needless to say qualification. I like both light mint and freshness, but also heady incense, says Tracy. Juan says, hello from Fresno, California. And Sharon says, love the theme. The summers are so long here in Texas. Ooh. and I'm always looking for summer scents. Okay, so we need to make a start. And I think the scent that best sums up the concept that I'm trying to capture here. By the way, there are some old favorites here and some that I haven't talked about on this channel because they're either brand new or new to me. The scent that I think was my sort of touchstone, my kind of starting point, is one that I haven't talked about before, but I've talked about the brand before. This is a very, very, very kind of niche independent brand. In some ways, it's the kind of definition of niche at the moment, if we could find such a thing as a definition of niche. And I think probably not very many people from Australia are watching live, but never mind. This is from the brand Peosym, and it's their latest release called Nirmohee. I'm probably pronouncing that incorrectly, and I'm told that the word means the detached one, and I'm guessing maybe it's Sanskrit or maybe it's Hindi. I don't know. And let's have a smell. So you may remember I talked about this brand's first scent called Lost Wanderer, as opposed to Lost Wanderer. They've credited this scent to Givaudan, as in the company, but I don't think that's because they don't want to reveal the perfumer. I think maybe there's a little bit more of a story there, but maybe one day we'll get the brand founder on and we'll do an interview and find out why they have to say that it's Givaudan as opposed to the perfumer. A little bit from their own website, okay? I'm not going to sort of read press blurbs and things for all of these perfumes, but I wanted to share this one because I like it. To truly live in the moment, it says, you have to let go first. Let go of all the worries in your heart and let it become lighter. Take a break from chasing whatever it is you do every day. Allow time to slowly slip by as you savor a feeling of simple and joyful existence. Watching the grass grow and the waves crash, let your surroundings become the rhythm you breathe. Just breathe. As a journey of rejuvenation and reinventing yourself, this scent is a fresh and soft fragrance layered with nuances of Evernil, an alternative to oak moss. And then it goes on and it mentions that it's got magnolia and musk. And this is, by the way, not mentioned, but I saw somebody saying about Australia. As a comment, East Coast Australia here, says Kazizi. Woozy mustn't be here yet. Well, thank you for an East Coast. That means it's even later there, isn't it? And yeah, this is this sense of letting go, of being true to yourself, of living in the moment, of being very, very sincere, I think is just conveyed really, really wonderfully in this scent. It's not crazy complex. It's not particularly layered. It's not particularly faceted. You get a very, very, very gentle inflection of those kind of dewy magnolia type florals, and it really does go pretty quickly into the moss. I really admire the fact that they've basically said that they've used this oak moss substitute called Evernil. It's pretty good oak moss substitute. It's been used in lots of other perfumes before. I suppose maybe what it doesn't have that natural oak moss has is that kind of inky metallic quality, maybe. So it's a bit more kind of forest floor grassy mossy as opposed to a little bit strange silvery mossy, and it just works and it lasts for a surprisingly long time. I wore it the other day in some quite warm weather, and that final dry down stage of the mosses with the musks, and the musks are never ever overplayed, lasted for a long time, and that it kind of cuts through heat as well. There's a sort of nice bite to it with something maybe a bit minty. And there we go. To me, this feels like it's not pretending to be something that it isn't. And I guess maybe that's kind of what I mean with some of these scents here. And I have a feeling that with several of them you will disagree with me, but there we are. So often it's the discussion that is more interesting than the lists, right? So we've started with the first one, Nirmohee from Peosym. Okay, I'm guessing a lot of people haven't tried it yet. Tomasz says, today I've been wearing Eau de Cèdre by L'Occitane, and I've always found it refreshing since I bought it. Perhaps it is not so long lasting, but everybody knows how an atomizer works. Very, very good. Rachel says, I'm wearing a lot of Les Indemodables Cologne Escale on Haiti in the hot weather here in Taipei, Taiwan. That is a brand that may come up, but you know, I haven't tried any of their colognes, and I should imagine that if they're anything like their perfumes, their colognes must be so good. Okay, let's move on. Number 2 on my list is from the year 2000. This is a favorite. This is a real old favorite. This is from the original Frederic Malle lineup. So from 2000, by Olivia Giacobetti, En Passant. And those of you who've seen me talk about this perfume before know how it instantly sends me. Oh, Gavin says, can you do this more like Oprah? I don't get that reference. Oh, is it like sort of being true to yourself type stuff? I haven't seen. Oprah doesn't even do programs anymore, does she? Hasn't she sort of been long retired? No, I will not do it more like Oprah. God, Oprah reference. Anyway, En Passant from 2000 by Olivia Giacobetti. Now, I would imagine a lot of people watching this are going to say, hang on. This is much more about spring than it is about summer. And you're not wrong, but it's just so beautiful. I should show off actually the outer sleeve that I've got for this one. I think maybe I have showed it to you before, but this was done as a limited edition, special edition for Liberty to celebrate Frederic Malle being at Liberty for 5 years. And each of the perfumes had a sleeve that was taken from a pre-existing, an old sort of Liberty print. And I think I know I bought this one, but I'm pretty sure I bought Portrait as well for somebody. And I think I bought L'Eau d'Hiver. All really, really interesting packaging designs. But this really, really is one of the most stunning, beautiful, heart-stopping florals ever. And that's why I've included it here, because it really, really feels as though you are walking towards a very, very, very high quality, prestigious flower shop, or maybe you're walking away from it and the scent is chasing you, and it's freesias and sweet pea and lily of the valley and those very, very spring-like flowers. So please forgive me. I know this is a summer list, but bear with me. And it's just so gentle and so beautifully balanced. There's a kind of watery, aqueous, cucumbery note at the top that lends it a very ethereal quality. And it's so well named. En Passant is just the best name for it, because it really does feel like you've just captured this scent on the wind. It's just so, so, so romantic, and I should wear it more often. And it's got, coming across on the blotter today, almost a gently kind of, not saline quality, but something maybe in the aqueousness that is heading towards, you know, just sort of salt on skin. It's just so stunning. You need to tell me what you think of it. Elisa says, I'll be wearing En Passant and Carnal Flower. It's been very gloomy here in Southern California, so I can't wait to try it on a warmer day. Speaking of gloomy, we've been treated to some really, really quite extraordinary weather here in the UK for the last, I don't know, 10 days, 2 weeks. And I thought, okay, it's Sunday and summer is approaching, the official start of summer is approaching, time for the summer list. And of course, literally about an hour before I started this video, the heavens opened and we've had not torrential rain, but quite heavy rain down here on the south coast. So go figure, it's probably because I was doing the video. Gavin says, I like this perfume. Good, I'm glad you like it. En Passant is brilliant, says Rachel. Stephanie, one of my favorites, En Passant, such a special fragrance. Seems like everyone did in Europe, says Kylo, meaning the rain. Yeah, I think the heavens broke today. Milad says, État Libre d'Orange, you or someone like you is my favorite summer scent. That nearly made it onto this list. Nearly. But maybe we'll have another one from the brand later on. Okay, I could just do a whole video smelling. I think we should do an Olivia Giacobetti video. The thing is, though, that some of her work, you know, that she did for Junks, it's difficult to get samples. But she is just, I wish she would just do more stuff. So modern and poetic at the same time, says Michelle. Yes, you're absolutely right. I think it's because it doesn't have maybe that kind of slightly fleshy heaviness that a scent like this would have had 30 or 40 years ago. And yeah, it is hauntingly, beautifully poetic. Okay, next up, one which I featured in one of my best of videos a little while ago, but it officially came out in 2021. But I think I first came across it last year from Ulrich Lang's brand. This is Lethe. And this one, I have to say, if anybody involved with the brand is watching, this one nearly didn't make it because it does still slightly annoy me. Well, no, not slightly. It does annoy me that the brand refuses to reveal the identity of its perfumers. And I need to kind of qualify that because that's unfortunate wording that I use there. Okay, so it annoys me not that the brand refuses to reveal the identity of its perfumers, but that we don't know the identity of its perfumers. Because actually, what I have learned recently is that sometimes, even if brands would like to reveal the identity of their perfumers, they're actually told by the perfume manufacturing houses that they mustn't reveal the identity of the perfumers. Now, I don't know what the situation is with Ulrich Lang, whether it's a case of him not wanting to reveal the identity of or whether he's been told that he shouldn't. But it does annoy me a little bit. And I thought, okay, well, you know, when we're talking about sincerity and integrity and honesty, it kind of feels a little bit odd to include perfumes where I don't know who the perfumer is. But then I included the Peosym one. And is there another one coming up where I don't know the identity of the? No, I think all of the others we do. So I thought, okay, well, never mind. It's much more about the sense that they convey. Oh, Eric, going back to Olivia Giacobetti, says, when they announced Junks was folding, I bought one of almost everything. I love the simple and clean aesthetic. Anyway, so this is Lethe. Yes, this I love because it really, really is very, very genuinely about the body and about skin and about flesh, but in a very gentle way, in a very delicate way. It's the scent, the scent inspired by, I forget, is it the river or the lake? It's a body of water that when you, I think when you step into it or you drink from it, it makes you forget everything. And that forgetfulness is great for living in the moment, isn't it? As long as you've got a choice. And I love how a gentle woodiness is brought into it, a kind of cedary inflection. I love again, you know, talking about saline quality. I mean, I'd in the past, I hadn't sort of thought of the link between this and En Passant, but there is a very, very definite link. It's like this one, Lethe, has got the sweeter florals taken away, so the freesia, the sweet pea taken away, and is much more about the amberiness, okay, the ambery woodiness. But again, really, really gentle, really quite poetic in its own way. People are mentioning Durella for the summer. Durella is always perfect for the summer. You cannot go wrong with Durella. Rachel is backing that choice up as well. And I should wear this more often. And apparently Ulrich Lang has got a new scent, so hopefully I will be able to try it soon. Farid says, need to get my nose on those Etat Libre d'Orange scents. The name sounds like someone wants a Dutch Republic. Yes, well, we won't go into that. And there's a sweetness in the Lethe that is very, very, very touching. I think these are all quite touching scents, the three of them so far. Guerlain's Nerolia Vetiver is my current summer fave, says Gino. Okay, stay tuned, stay tuned. Okay, now we're on to number 4. This is one that may raise a few eyebrows, and also of the ones that we're talking about here, it's probably the one that starts veering into more complex territory. This is a curious one, and it was new to me as of a few weeks ago, and it's the first time I've mentioned it on this channel. So first of all, I will reveal which one it is. Farid says, Persolaise and wafts from the loft are the shows that make me feel like an utter peasant. Why? Well, that's not the intention. Well, you shouldn't. Sincere means without the wax, says Gavin. Anyway, from Serge Lutens, okay, from the sort of lighter range, this is Dans le bleu qui pétille, okay. Somebody do instant translation. Is it in the sparkling blue? So in the sparkling sea, I suppose. And as I say, I can feel the collective eyebrows going up already, going, what the? Why is he including this one? This, by the way, is from 2022, of course, composed by Christopher Sheldrake. Somebody's going, yay, Bombay Gin. I think this is interesting. Maybe just a touch too interesting to be a true candidate, for this list. But yes, in the sparkling blue, says Sandra. Thank you very much. This one is nice, says Suzu on Mars. Red flag for consumers, says Rachel. I don't usually buy fragrances without knowing the perfumers. Yes, but Rachel, I think you're probably, in the minority. And if I loved the perfume, then I would still buy it. Yeah, this is fascinating. And as I say, it maybe just tips over the complexity mark, which means that it's maybe a little bit of an outlier on this list, but I wanted to mention it. It works on lots and lots of different levels. So the first burst that you get actually is surprisingly a kind of amber that immediately reminds you of the brand's their own Ambre Sultan. It's got that kind of herbal, smoky, ambery quality. Then on top of that, there's a really, really nicely done incense note, and incense has been a kind of common theme in all of the water scents. Starting from the very first one that we had quite a few years ago. The L'eau, Serge Lutens L'eau, and then at the very, very top, bear with me, a marine note, a very, very definite marine note, so that when you wear it on skin, if you get a little bit too close to it, the marine is almost a little bit too much, a little bit too synthetic-y. But the sillage that it creates with that amber and the incense is really, really, really quite stunning. And I was taken with this, and I thought, I had a very, very, very interesting meeting going back maybe a couple of months ago now, or maybe a few weeks ago, with a Serge Lutens representative in the UK. And they were taking me through some of the recent scents, and the stories that the brand and Uncle Serge himself push about the scents sometimes get a little bit of a bad rep. But when you actually smell some of the scents in relation to the stories, you think, okay, I may not like this perfume so much, but I get it. I get what you were trying to do here. When that aligns with your own personal like of the scent, that's great, like in the Écrin de Fumée that we had recently. But this is not what you think it's going to be, because it does do that clean, fresh incense thing, but the inclusion of that amberiness is really quite surprising. And so where was I going? By mentioning the stories, yes, I think as an expression of a certain aesthetic that Christopher Sheldrake and Serge Lutens want to express in the low range, this one is great. This one is definitely one of the better ones. Some of them have not quite worked so well, and I'm sorry that a few of them have been discontinued. The clove one I really, really liked. I wore was it Land of Air? I think that I wore lots and lots and lots, but I didn't like the one which was meant to be straw, which I think is still around. Is it L'eau de Paille? That one I couldn't get on with. But this one do check out, but approach it carefully, spray it on skin, and then kind of let the sillage come up to you rather than going straight in, because that marine note can set slightly the wrong tone. Elisa says, I haven't tried any from Serge Lutens yet. Can't wait. Dans le Bleu sounds interesting. It is interesting. But if you haven't tried Serge Lutens, then go and check out my top Serge Lutens video first, because there are some absolute gems in that brand. And okay, we're not doing too badly for time, but we should do number 5 next. Which one is this meant to be? Okay, I put these two next to each other because this is again another one which veers towards it doesn't veer toward, it is complex. It is quite a very, very layered, complex, intriguing composition, but I love the story behind it, and I love the name. This is from 2019, composed by Antoine Lee, from Les Indemodables. This is Rose de Jamal, and I just love the fact that it is named after the man who grows some of the roses that were used in the making of the perfume. And in terms of sincerity and integrity, and we know that the Les Indemodables brand are very, very, very much hot on concepts like sincerity and integrity, I just thought that this had to be included. Now, it works fantastically as a summer scent as well, because for those of you who don't know, the idea here was to create a rose that could very easily, as in the West, be seen as a masculine rose. And so it's been freshened up with mint. And it's really, really beautiful. And this one was an interesting one because it took me a while to learn to appreciate this. The dry down, when it gets to the dry down stage, is just heavenly. Woozy says, oh, by the way, I think, were we wondering where you were, Woozy? I forget whether it was you we were wondering, but yes, I think it was you. Surprised it wasn't Chypre Azurel, given that's a straight up citrus. Ah, well, there you go. It's good to be surprised sometimes. Rachel said, oh no, you're talking to each other about perfume names. I bought Ombre Suprême for the summer, says Josie. Oh, that's another good one as well. The mint note really makes Rose de Jamal sing in the summer, says Sharon. Yes, you're absolutely right. And Rose de Jamal smells like potpourri to me. In a good way, Rachel? So it's mint, but it's woodiness, and it's the rose, and it's a lovely citrus quality. And the rose has a lot of personality and is kind of peppery and honeyed and earthy, lots of patchouli there as well, but it stays really, really bright and sunny and light and translucent and easy to wear, and is just really, really gorgeous, really, really beautiful. The Immortelle in Ombre Suprême is magical, says Jean. By the way, I have tried the brand's latest patchouli noisette, and we need to do a review of that because that's pretty good as well. So order your samples of patchouli noisette now. Iris Perle is my go-to Les Indemodables summer scent, says Woozy. I love that one as well. I mean, it's such a strong brand, such a strong brand. Okay, so we're nearly at the half-hour mark. I should say, seeing as we've done 5, that you're watching episode 378 of Love at First Scent with me, Persolaise, and we are doing top 10 perfumes for summer 2023. And the very, very loose theme we have this year for this summer is scents that somehow convey a concept of sincerity, that are filled with some kind of notion of honesty or integrity. I wish there were an in-person Les Indemodables stockist in London. Yes, so do I, says Gavin. There used to be, but I guess it didn't work for whatever reason. You must try the colognes by Les Indemodables, says Rachel. Maybe I need to write to Remy. No Creed in this list, I guess, says Milan. Oh, can you imagine? No, there will be no Creed in the remainder of this list. I have yet to try any of the Les Indemodables. They're at the top of my short list to try. And by the way, folks, you need to tell me, all of you, if you're watching, just tell me 2 or 3 perfumes that you're looking forward to wearing this summer. Okay, so we need to do our sidetrack now. The first sidetrack is to something that isn't sold as a perfume, but this is a good moment to mention it. It's from Diptyque, and it's their Citronelle and Geranium body spray with essential oils. I think it first came out in 2021, summer 2021, but I first became aware of it last year, and it's just been reissued together with the summer scent, Ilio, and their Citronelle candle, and a whole range of, very typically Diptyque summery goodies. Ilio, the scent is all right. It's fine. I think it was very, very popular. Hang on. Renaud says, hello from Singapore. Helmut Lang, Eau de Cologne by Maurice Roussel for the heat. In Singapore, okay. Well, safe journeys, Monsieur Salmon. Hang on, it must be really late there. What time is it over there? 5:30? Is it Singapore? I don't know. It must be gone midnight now, surely. Get to bed. What are you doing? Rose is the most natural smell to us, says Farid. And by the way, I did see one comment, seeing as you're here, Monsieur Salmon. He's going to pretend he's not around. Somebody said earlier in the chat that, was it Sunshine Man is being discontinued? So please could you let us know if this horrible, horrible news is true? But he's probably gone now. He's probably gone to bed in Singapore. Safe travels, sir. Look after yourself. So anyway, this is their Citronelle and Geranium body spray, which is just a real joy to wear. I remember last year when I was sort of popping out first thing in the morning to go and buy some, I don't know, croissants or probably a Pommier actually for breakfast. You would just do a very, very quick spritz of this. And again, sincerity, honesty, Ooh, Rachel says a fabulous summer event, or maybe scent even, is Lineage by Amouage. Oh, there you go, a fan of Lineage. And it is Citronelle and Geranium, and it doesn't shy away from that slightly weird quality that Geranium can have. And the Citronelle is really, really Citronelle. You know, you are not going to be chased by mosquitoes wearing this one. But it's just such an immediate, refreshing spritz. So I wanted to mention that one to you because these are limited editions. And if you like the sound of it, you need to get it now, I think. And also the Citronelle candle is great. Did you know I need to do a video on this? Apparently, Diptyque are marking this year the 60th anniversary. I think it was 60th. Pretty sure it was 60th of their first candle. And they've made a very, very, very limited edition, huge box, I think, of every single candle that they've got currently in their range. And I need to get the details and maybe do a dedicated video on it, but because it's very, very small numbers and only going to selected shops around the world. So that's a sidetrack. And then another sidetrack is a scent that I first... Is it meant to be a mosquito repellent, says Sandra? Well, I think it does act as a kind of mosquito repellent, but it's very, very wearable. It's a really, really pleasant way of doing mosquito repellent. This next sidetrack scent is one that I first came across in last September 2022. And I've been waiting for the right moment to share it with you. I didn't want to do a video on its own about it because I thought very few people are aware of this scent, and so regular viewers would have watched the video and would have become aware of it, but very few people would be searching for this on YouTube, and so many of the people who find my videos find them because they're searching for a particular review. Some of you may be aware of this, especially if you're Paris-based, but I thought, you know, with concepts like sincerity and integrity, this has got to be done today. This is actually from the people behind État Libre d'Orange. So it's Etienne de Svart, and he's done a few collaborations under the name of, you know, sort of one-off brands with other people. This is a scent that he made with none other than Ralf Schwieger, okay? It's called Le Dieu Cerf. I hope I'm pronouncing this correctly. So it's the deer god, or is it like the stag? And it's done in collaboration with the Saint Eustache Church, St. Eustace Church in Paris. Beautiful, beautiful church that you need to check out if you haven't been to it. And I won't kind of get into the details. So look up St. Eustace, and you will. He's a martyr, he thought he was sort of going somewhere, and he thought he saw a cross, a crucifix in a deer's antlers, etc., etc., etc. Anyway, this is the bottle. Okay. The church, and again, I won't get into the details. You can find out all of this for yourself. The church has long been associated with a very, very open-minded, liberal mindset, you know, welcoming people through its doors, people who maybe would not have been welcomed in the past, you know, in the interior of a Catholic church. It has a Keith Haring triptych there, which wasn't there when I went into the church because the Keith Haring had been taken off for another exhibition. So I need to go back so I can see the Keith Haring. And in order to raise funds for charity and for the church, Etienne de Svart and Ralf Schwieger made this scent. Now, in terms of its odor profile, it is just a very, very, very simple cologne, but a really, really beautiful cologne. A cologne, again, that is full of integrity in terms of its structure. Yeah, I mean, it's just exactly what you would want from an eau de cologne. It's really, really gorgeously aromatic, herbal, rosemary, thyme, lavender, nice bit of moss and musks in the base, some kind of, you know, really, really well judged, but not too sharp, acidic citrus note at the top, you know, lemon and bergamot. It's just a great cologne. And the really interesting thing about it as well is that you pay what you want for it. So you sort of go in and they say name your price, and you just sort of pay what you think would be a fair price. And just, you know, for the sake of full disclosure, I was given one by Etienne de Svart, but actually he said he I didn't question it. I don't know why he said it. He said, give that one to your mum, which I did the next time I saw her after I'd got the bottle. But then I went to the church and I purchased this bottle for myself. And for the life of me, I cannot remember what price I gave. But I think it was kind of, because how much is in this bottle? Is it 50 mils? Yeah, so I sort of thought, okay, well, what would be reasonable for 50 mils for a cologne for charity? It's just a spot on, really well done, proper classic eau de cologne. S. Umar says, being from Singapore, see if you can track down Renault, which is hot all year round. I have many fragrances to battle the heat. Chanel's eau de cologne is my go-to, but I just discovered Guerlain's Herbe Troublante, which is great. Oh, I struggle with that one, I think. But anyway, lots of people like it. Michelle says, Sable by Goutal is so sincere and should that be real? Rachel says, can you purchase this online or only in person? I have a feeling it's only in person, but contact the church, see if they might post it to you. Woozy says, can't remember means he gave 2 pennies and some rusty shillings he found at an Iranian market. Oh, that's nasty. That's really, really nasty. No, it wasn't. And Rachel says, Thameen Fanfare is a great summer scent as well. What other comments? Sharon Lebon says, this summer I look forward to wearing Acqua di Parma Chinotto. I love Chinotto as well, but I've talked about Chinotto so much that I have included it today. And Goutal's Songe does great in the heat. Right, so we have got 5 from the proper list to go. What's number 6 in the official top 10? I don't have a full bottle for this one, but you can Google the brand and all of their bottles are the same. This is, again, we're talking sincerity, honesty, integrity from 2013 from the brand Papillon, Liz Moore's brand, which is just kind of like west of me. And I don't know why I haven't met up with Liz for years and years and years. We're not actually that far away from each other. So this is their Angelique, okay, which is one of my favorites. I think it's one of the best things that she's ever done. And I think also it's a little bit underrated because I remember when she launched, everything was about the great big, was it Tobacco Rose and Anubis? And they're fine in that maybe slightly reactionary, independent perfume sort of way. But Angelique was the one that made me think, aha, she really knows what she's doing here. And then Dryad was another one where I thought, okay, she really knows what she's doing here. But Angelique, yeah, so it's just the gentleness. It's not easy to pull off a scent which is very, very legible, distinctive, haunting, sensuous, but also quite quiet. I'm smelling this and it's got this kind of beautiful gauze-like quality, and you think you can pick up a hint of maybe something like mimosa and maybe a hint of something like osmanthus. I always remember thinking as well that it made me think of candle wax in the best possible way. There's something waxy, white, gentle about it. What is the actual... yeah, the notes here are osmanthus, orris, mimosa, frankincense, cedarwood, all the best things, right? But it's just really, really, really sophisticated. And I think from her debut, it was the first one that I to which I would have ascribed the sophisticated label. Oh, Gavin, your pun is working, is working overtime here. Now we're back to sincere, except with the wax. Nice one. Tomasz with a list. In the summer, I love to wear Pierre Guillaume's Grand Siècle cologne. Haven't tried that. Acqua di Parma Cipresso di Toscana or Chinotto. Alvarez Gomez Acqua di Colonia Concentrada. I don't know that one. Frederic Maude's Geranium pour Monsieur. Oh, that's a good one as well. Francesca Bianchi, Etruscan water is also great, says Milad. I love Etruscan water, but I'm not allowed to wear it because Madame Persolaise doesn't like it. So I have to find the times when she's not going to be around, which isn't often, to wear it. I love, 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 love Etruscan water. Rima says, interestingly, today I walked in Sephora's man perfume section and couldn't find anything interesting. In which country were you? That's not surprising. Besides Terre d'Hermès. On the contrary, you can find few in the women's section. I really feel so bad. Well, I mean, we're being a little... Which country were you in, Rima? Are you talking France or somewhere else? You can find some things. Oh, and Elias is here as well. Better late than sorry. Wow, some nice selections. You're very, very welcome. Thanks for tuning in and for writing. Oh, Rima says in Dubai. Well, okay, for a start, if you're in Dubai, you don't even need to go to Sephora. You can go to so many other places, but you should be able to find, like, there'll be some good Guerlains at Sephora. I'm not giving you shopping tips. So depending on which Sephora you went to, if you were in Dubai, Malle, you have got so many other options there, right? But yeah, maybe you weren't there. Angelique's haunting. It's like fireflies in the night. It's just like tiny, tiny, tiny little pinpricks of light in the darkness, and the lights of hope guiding you along. You know, it's a very, very fairy tale kind of perfume. You know, there's a corner of Narnia that probably smells of this. Really nicely done. Really, really nicely done. Okay, number seven. We've mentioned État Libre d'Orange a few times already. And this is the selection that I've made. I could have chosen a few from État Libre, especially some of the older ones, because the older ones actually were all about a kind of uncompromising honesty. But I went for this one. This is from 2006, composed by Antoine Maisondieu, and this is their anti-hero, or anti-héros, I suppose would be in French. And I like the sort of clean simplicity of the lavender here. This is basically a lavender. I would have thought very much inspired by Caron's Pour un homme. So, you know, I guess it was no coincidence that the Caron is called Pour un homme and the État Libre is called Antihero, because that's the kind of thinking that Etienne Desfart likes to do. Let's start assembling these a little bit, because what I need to start doing, I think, is when they're all assembled, I think I need to have a photo of all of them at the end, right? Can every single one be seen so far? Yeah, just about. Okay. It's just a brilliant lavender. And again, as I say, it's got a kind of purist quality that I really admire. And I was smelling this. I happened to be smelling this with a very, 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 very young member of my family, one of the youngest, who had come round. And we have some lavender growing in the garden. And he picked some of the lavender buds and really liked smelling them. So, of course, I said, would you like to smell some perfumes that have got lavender in them? So he said yes. And I went and got this. And I also got the Caron. And how old is he, says Gavin? He's 5. And he decided he preferred this one. He decided this is better because I think he said that it smelt more like the actual lavender. And maybe what he was responding to somewhere on some level is the fact that the Caron, of course, becomes a little bit vanillic and caramelized, whereas this I think, is more honest and more faithful to the plant. To me, it goes in the direction of that kind of soapy, powdery, musky feel of the Acqua di Parma cologne, which is a good thing. Rich Mitch says, over 200 watching. Oh, gosh, you're absolutely right. But only 59 thumbs up. Okay, so this is the point at which I say, if you are enjoying the video, please give it a thumbs up. Oh, Sharon, thank you very much. Sharon, you've been very, very generous with these lately. I am very, very grateful, and I don't take that for granted at all. It's very, very kind. But please don't feel obliged to do that, okay? You know, save your pennies as well. But yes, thumbs up, people, as Gavin says. Thank you very much, Sharon. Love the list. Thanks again for a great perfume chat. And thank you. And Maudlin says, a connoisseur already. Yes, the little 5-year-old. Absolutely. What can you imagine being related to me? They're constantly wanting to smell materials and things. Pedrali Camosa says, I recently bought the Chanel Allure cologne, but was very disappointed by the dry down. Not the experience I had with the store's tester at all. Yeah, I've never got the Allure thing. That's not one of my favorite Chanels. But the État Libre d'Orange, really, really nice, slightly camphoraceous, herbal, aromatic lavender, works extremely well. And I just love the fact that it's meant to be an anti-hero scent. And I can't believe it, but we're down to the last 3. What have I got as number 8? One that, interestingly, some of you have mentioned. So I'm kind of pleased, but maybe you haven't mentioned this particular variant. So this is from this year, Oh, Rima. Oh, I love the fact that it's dirhams. Thank you very. Oh, do you know what? 10 dirhams or 10.99. You could do so much with 10 dirhams when I was growing up in Dubai. That was 2 taxi rides. You could go somewhere and come back and still have a dirham to spare. Long gone are those days. I remember getting into a taxi saying, you know, how much to so and so, and it'd be like 5 dirhams. It'd be like, okay, fine. Thank you very much, Rima. That's really, really kind. And let me know where you might find some interesting perfumes in Dubai. I seem to remember that the Saks shop in Dubai Malle is pretty good as well. So this is from this year. It's the harvest version of Guerlain's Aqua Allegoria Neroli Vetiver. I know some of you mentioned the Neroli Vetiver already. I really like this harvest version, and it's just such a shame that it's a limited edition. So those of you who watched the video where I did the review of this, it was only a few weeks ago, will remember that this is basically the Neroli Vetiver that we remember from last year's EDT. But this harvest version has got a really, really beautiful honey note. Seriously, such a good job they've done here, and I don't know why it has to be a limited edition, but I guess it's, you know, something to do with the harvest of the materials, I suppose, or whether that's clever marketing and actually it's got nothing to do with harvests and things. I don't know. But it's got the vetiver has never been overly pronounced in Neroli Vetiver, but it kind of lends an earthy, rooty, slightly woody quality to the Neroli, and the Neroli is superbly metallic. Lieselot, thank you so much. This is really, really kind, folks. I'm very, very grateful. Thank you. I'm going to try this and compare with the EDT, says Gino. Well, I would imagine that what the main thing you're going to get is the honey note. But yes, do try it, and I'm going to treasure my bottle. And speaking of Guerlain limited editions, I did manage to get myself a backup bottle of the Abbey Rouge Privé, because I want to be able to wear at least one bottle very, very liberally, because I love that stuff. Now, this is what the Aqua Allegorias should be, I think. And I haven't tried the other harvests, and I probably won't be able to try the other harvests, and they'll be gone because I think there are 2 more harvests. Anyway, we're down to the final 2. And at number 9, again, a brand that several of you have mentioned, but interestingly, I don't think you mentioned this one. Oh, Beatrice says, try the mandarin. So yeah, because if there's a mandarin basilic harvest, that must be pretty good as well. Maybe, but you see, I don't want to buy these things blind, because they're expensive, and you know, you can't take them back. And I don't know when I'll next be in London to go to the Covent Garden boutique. There may be one that I don't get to try. Anyway, so this is credited. Oh, I'll send you a decant of the Les Indemodables cologne, says Rich Mitch. And you'll pay me. You don't have to. That's very, very sweet. Thank you, Rich. Tomasz says, Persolaise, are you trying to tell me that I should buy this harvest version of the Aqua Allegoria, even if I already bought the one released last year? Yeah, I think I am trying to tell you that, because this one is more interesting and better. Anyway, this is number 9 in the top 10. This is credited to Shyamala Maison Dieu from 2010. It's Agua di Parma's Bergamotto di Calabria from their Blue Mediterraneo range. So what's been mentioned so far? You've mentioned Chinotto. I think somebody mentioned the Fico. And notice I've got the original here as opposed to the limited edition Spugnatura, because I think that one's gone, so no point mentioning it. But again, if we're talking about purism, so the sort of purest quality of it, this is such a great little citrus. Let's do a little bit of a swap around here. Put the shorter bottles to the front. Does that work? Yeah, because I only need room for one more, and the next one is a small bottle because I don't have a full-size bottle of number 10. Let's pop that on here. And this is just, again, a really, really charming, unassuming, unostentatious, nicely done bergamot heavy cologne. So it leans into the citruses rather than, you know, in the case of the Church one, leaning into the aromatics. Bergamoto di Calabria says Rara is definitely a summer staple for me. Atelier Cologne Bergamot Soleil says Millard. Dior Homme Cologne smells a bit like Acqua di Parma Bergamotto, says Farid. Yeah, I think I prefer this one. But yeah, it is sincerely a bergamot. It is not loud. It doesn't attract too much attention to itself. It is sort of one of the lighter colognes before I think Acqua di Parma started thinking that they needed to make it heavier and heavier. And yeah, I think it works a treat. Vetti Wearer says, my summer favorites, Bergamotto di Calabria La Spugnatura, which is good, but I'm not including it here because it is a limited edition. Bottega Veneta's Pour Homme Essence Aromatique. That was a good one. I wonder if I've still got my bottle somewhere. That's a very, very good shout, that one. Riviera Lazuli from Atelier des Ors and Auto Parisi's Terroni. Bergamot de Calabria from Acqua Allegoria is also great. Yes, you're right, Beatrice, thank you. Cozizi says, did you ever own Essenza di Zegna? I think I did, and I think I've still got it somewhere in my collection. Okay, and the last one. Now, it would have been strange not to have included Hermès in this list because in some ways they're all about summer and they're all about colognes. And a lot of their scents actually, I'm thinking, for example, of the Jardin scents, Jardin sur le Toit, Jardin sur le Nil. They're all very, very, very sincere. But I thought, okay, let's go to the Hermessence and let's go to a Christine Nagel Hermessence. So this is from when she gave us her first Hermessence. So it's from 2018. This is their Cèdre Sambac, so cedar and jasmine sambac. Hermès Eau de Pamplemousse Rose, says Faridi. I mean, you could name so many, right? Even the original, the Citron Vert, they really, really would fit the bill. You could probably do a top 10 just of Hermès scents like that. Gavin says, can you pick your favorite album and do a perfume that represents every track list, please? Now, that's a superb list, but I wonder what on earth my favorite album would be, whether I have a favorite album. I think what I should do one day is maybe make my top 10 movies of all time and do a scent to go with each movie. That would be hard. Love Cèdre Sambac. I would have thought Muguet Porcelaine was more of a summer scent with its fruity floral note, says Woozy. Yes, but I just wanted to do a Christine Nagel. I thought, we keep sort of going back a little bit and talking about the Jean-Claude Eleanor Hermès, which obviously so many of them are great. I also wanted to choose this one because we seem to be going through a phase of lots of perfumes doing the kind of two-block thing. Do you remember when Frederic Malle did Rose et Cuir? Have we got everything in here? And then there was another one that I think we talked about recently, which was basically a big block of 2 ingredients. It's hard to do that kind of thing, but this one does it brilliantly because all the way from the beginning, you get just the most impeccable balance between the cedar and the jasmine. They complement each other. So the cedar picks up the kind of floral facets of the jasmine picks up the woody facets of the cedar, and they do this really, really beautiful dance with each other, which works extremely well on skin. And in the end, I suppose maybe it's the cedar that kind of wins, but the interplay between them is sustained just for a very, very, very long time and in a really, really heartbreakingly beautiful way. And I think it was the kind of honesty of that composition, the way the simplicity was pulled off, that made me think it needs a place here. It definitely has sandalwood, says Pradeep. You may well be right, actually, as I'm smelling it now. I mean, nothing kind of synthetic sandalwoody. Maybe that's the bridge between them. As soon as I saw that word, I thought, gosh, he's right. Really nicely done. Really nicely done. And Nagel's Hermessence are depth with minimal notes, says Woozy, while Eleanor's were multiple notes with minimal impact in a good way. Yes, I mean, his were definitely more like watercolors or haiku, weren't they? Hers, there's more going on with them. I'm sort of thinking of Violette Volinka. What was the other one that she did that I seem to remember enjoying? Yeah, I mean, I like the oud that she did. As you know, I love Cardammusc. We are done, folks. So there we go. Your top 10 for summer 2023. Thank you very much for watching. Thank you very much for tuning in. If you're watching the recording, leave a comment or a question. Tell me what some of your favorite summer scents are. And thank you very much for the super chats as well. I will see you soon. Stay tuned to social media for info about new videos coming your way. Until then, be good. Take care. Thanks a lot. Bye.